Zach Peay, Jamar Perkins. It's crunch time. It's crunch time here live in the studios of Austin Peay. Zach Peay joined as always by Jamar Perkins and Reese Britt. Guys, we're going to jump straight into it. Jamar, how was your weekend?
Man, it was a pretty decent weekend. Got to chill out a little bit. Honestly, don't even remember what I did this weekend, but let's just say it was a good one.
A good one.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it, yeah.
Reese?
Guys, I'm super tired. We played in Missouri's tournament this past weekend. Great tournament, great finish by the boys in red. So I'm really happy about that, but I'm all worn out. Happy to be here with you guys. Zach, what about you?
Man, I had a great weekend. I had an opportunity to watch opening day for the Orioles. We're not going to talk about that though. But we got to see a lot of really cool games. Got to see some interesting stuff for sports, and just in general, get a chance to actually relax a little bit. Yeah.
I remember what I did this weekend. I stayed up super late on Saturday night, finishing some schoolwork, and then I accidentally slept through church. So sorry, but
Oh yeah,
I was a bad guy.
Don't do that. Yeah.
I said my apologies. Let's jump into some sports. Reese,
yeah.
No, we got some golf action that took place this
Yeah,
week.
let's start out hot with the Masters. Congrats to Texas native Scotty Scheffler. He's a great player. He won the Masters, brought the green jacket back to the United States. It was won last year by Hideki Matsuyama, reigning from Japan. But Scotty brought it back with a grand total of 10 under par for 4 days.
Wow.
And he had some guys chasing behind him. I mean, on the final day, Rory McIlroy shot 8 under 64. That's unheard of for the conditions that they played in. He finished second. Shane Lowry was up there. You had Cameron Smith. A lot of guys from overseas that were chasing Scotty at the top of leaderboard. But what everybody's tuning in for is Tiger Woods, obviously.
Yeah.
He finished 47th, made the cut, but plus 13 on the week. People were saying he struggled with recovery from day to day, walking up and down the hills of Augusta National. But all in all, what a great tournament. Scotty Scheffler led pretty much the entire way. He had the 36 hole and the 54 and 72 hole lead. So he pretty much dominated, as we like to say here.
Oh yeah, he definitely dominated. And Tiger, we talked about this a little bit in between setup and stuff. It was weird, man. Day one and day two, you kind of saw Tiger being Tiger. I mean, there was that random bogey in day two, but it wasn't really that bad. Day three, it was just, you could see it was just time. Like the gas is out of the tank. He is struggling. He is having issues. And you actually mentioned something to me off air about his recovery as well, right?
Yeah, it was. It's a report came out that said he would, after every single round, he would take ice baths, and I mean he would go 4 minutes on and then 10 minutes off, 4 minutes on, 10 minutes off. So when you're walking in Augusta National's arguably the toughest walk on tour just by the undulation of the turf. You're going up and down hills left and right, and that takes a toll on really your lower body, your feet, everything. And when you're making swings, his back was hurt. So I mean, it was a whole ordeal for him.
I'll be honest. Like I said, golf, we leave that up to you, Reese. That's my biggest sport. But I was under the assumption golfers just drove around on golf carts the whole time. Like I'll be honest, I didn't know there was a lot of walking until today when we talked about it.
Trust me, I wish that was the case. But after what I did this past weekend, walking 72 golf holes in 3 days, 36 on the first day of the tournament, that's pretty hard.
How much golf carts are involved in a typical golf match?
The only way that we ride in golf carts is a 36-hole day if they know that we can't get done in time for the sun.
Okay.
So on a 36-hole day, we'll get there in the dark, and normally we'll leave the course when it's getting dark. So
wow,
it's golf's a little more grueling than what people think.
Yeah.
We get after it really good. So
a lot of walking.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing. A lot of walking.
I think I walked like 30 miles.
You at least get a caddy?
No caddy. You either got to push your clubs or carry them on your back.
Oh, that sucks.
So it's a grind, man. That's what you sign up for.
Yeah, I mean that's what you sign up for. You're right. All right, so I mean that's a great transition over to Austin Peay Sports. Congratulations to APSU baseball player Tyler DeLong, OVC co-pitcher of the week, 9 Ks, and started the sweep against UT Martin. What a good job! I just want to, gotta give a hats off to him. Currently, they are 13-20 overall, though. They're 500 at home. They're 4-11 away. They just can't seem to get it together at an away ballpark, but there is a bright side. 6-3 in the conference. That's a great thing to see.
Definitely.
And that their next series, of course, starts on Thursday at home against Eastern Illinois. But you and I talked about this. There's something that's happened within the college baseball rankings, and this will be a good transition to that from an OVC team.
Yeah, no, Tennessee Tech. We talked about them. They took down the #1 team in the Tennessee Volunteers. Reese, I know you know a lot about that. You might want to say something about that.
I'll just talk a little bit about it. Yeah,
just a little.
Now, all the Tennessee fans that are watching this, calm down. Calm down. It was a midweek game. These guys are focused. Don't get me wrong on that, but at the same time, they were not looking at this game. They were looking forward to Alabama this coming weekend, coming into their place. But I mean, you got to give it off Tennessee Tech. I watched a little bit of that game. That relief pitcher that came in, forgot his name, but he shoved. That guy can pitch at pretty much name a spot and he can pitch at it. I mean, he did a really good job keeping the batters off balance. He threw a nasty slider across the zone that got a lot of swings and misses. So kudos to Tennessee Tech though. They played really good.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, as you said, the Vols they're destroying everybody right now.
Yeah,
they've got a great pitching staff. They're got together. The only team that I know that's got talent that's near them just dropped out of the top 25, and that brings us into our top 10 discussion for college baseball. Tennessee right now 31-1 on the record. They're #1 overall. Of course, with the new recent loss, it's 31-2 now. But Miami 26-6, Oregon State 24-7, Texas Tech 27-8, Oklahoma State 23-9, Arkansas 23-7, Texas at 24-10, Virginia 26-6, Louisville at 23-8, UCLA at 22-9. Vandy's just outside of the top 25 at 22-9 right now. I don't know if they won their last game or not. I probably should know that as a fan, but hey, I don't check them up on every day. Unfortunately, I got other baseball stuff I pay attention to. But let's talk about this for a second. Right now, obviously, we don't have much time left in our season with today's illustrious episode being what it is.
Yeah.
But thinking about this, the World Series, College World Series, will happen before we meet together, right? So I gotta ask, who's going to the World Series, the College World Series?
You go first tomorrow.
Any one of you
can
go.
We can say the same answer because I'm going to go ahead and hop on the bandwagon. And
do it, buddy. Get on it. Get on the bandwagon.
Go Big Orange.
That's right. GBO.
No, see, that hurt to even hear from you a little bit. That was a little.
Let's go Peay though.
Yeah, there we go. I got to go with Vandy on that one. I mean, other than the logo change, they since the logo change, they've sucked. But unfortunately, they just. I mean, they dropped out of the top 25. Maybe they'll get it together. But talent-wise, they have one of the better talented teams in college baseball, and they're just not performing well. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who is running the show because it's obviously not Corbin. I just don't know.
I will say they did win yesterday with a score of 7-4 against Western Kentucky. So I don't know how good Western Kentucky is. I didn't think so. But hey, a win's a win when you lost the series against Auburn, got swept by Tennessee the week before.
You're right.
Should I pile on anymore?
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Because at least they should have got a game to 2 games out of each of those series. At least Auburn, they should have got that series.
Yeah, they should have swept
But the Tennessee
Auburn.
series, at least a game because of the way they were playing, especially at home. But I don't know. It's weird. That gives us a great transition to MLB. Opening day or opening weekend was last weekend. The biggest thing that happened, and that I'm starting to wonder now if it's going to bring more fans out to the stands for New York. Day 2, the bench is clear for the Nats and Mets. The game 1 for those two teams went a little awkward. There were some pitches already kind of being thrown at people, some conversations from Shellwalter, the coach of the Mets, or the general manager of the Mets. So it already seemed like this was going to happen, but it's just one guy gets hit. And everybody clears, and it's interesting. So hey, check out your local baseball teams because you might watch a fight on the field.
Yeah. I say the highlight of the weekend. I believe it happened over the weekend, but Albert Pujols getting the home run with the Cardinals. I know that.
Yeah, that was so great to see, man.
Right there
like, because he's back. He's got a chance to actually be there. So that was wow. I agree. And then of course the Orioles lose their first series, so they're already been swept for the year. So that's great.
What's new?
Right.
I mean, the past couple years, what's new?
It's gonna be. I miss Shellwalter.
Yeah, same.
Please fire Elias. That's the guy that operates our stuff right now because our farm system's great, but apparently we don't know how to move people up. Yep. But let's transition to hockey real quick. I don't have much for hockey. What I want to do is congratulate Predators. Roman Josi to becoming the 10th defensive man in NHL history to have 86 points scored. Preds are playing really well right now. I don't have standings or anything for them. I just know that they're playing well right now. But the biggest news that I got was that Josi became the 10th D-man in NHL history to have this. And so just a hats off to him. Nashville, hopefully you guys can break the curse and get past round 1, round 2, and maybe win a Stanley Cup this time. Who knows? Who knows what happens there? But let's transition quickly into NFL. Some sad news. From the NFL over the weekend. We talked about this guy literally after our show last week. Dwayne Haskins was killed over the weekend. The former first-round pick was struck by a vehicle while crossing the highway. He was 24 years old. This is sad, man. He had, I act like I'm the oldest guy all the time, but I know I've got a lot of life ahead of me. And for the fact that he's 24, I mean, that's just
devastating.
That's upsetting. I mean, and shame on Adam Schefter. I don't know if anybody else wants to add to this type of stuff, but shame on Adam Schefter for his tweet, his insensitive tweet to announce this.
It was very insensitive.
I don't know if dude's a robot, but dude's got a problem.
Like we talked about, it's kind of a rollover. I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about the Brady situation, how that was some controversy too. So it's like, I think Schefter, he's going to stay relevant because he is Adam Schefter, and he's that big guy that finds out all the news. But his personality and his community. I mean, you think about what he did with Haskins. Now you think about Schefter. Can I get an interview with this guy? Nah, he said he doesn't want to talk to you because what you did with Dwayne Haskins.
Right,
We
right.
can see that happening.
You've got that. I mean, you got the Brady situation. You have the Brees situation. You have the Aaron Rodgers situation a few years ago as well. These last 4 or 5 years, at least 4 years, he has made some sort of a wave during the offseason for something insensitive, something announced too early, or something like that. I think his replacement's in the wings, maybe. I don't know.
We got Rappaport. He's another
I love
guy
Rapp.
too. But
I love Rapp. He's so good.
Acknowledge he did apologize. Now he did it a couple days later. You said.
Like
I mean,
2 days later, he
That's so
redid
fake,
the tweet the day of, and
Yeah.
then like on his podcast, I think a day later or maybe two, he announced an apology. But you had to go to his podcast to hear it.
That's very true.
So.
It wasn't
Which he's making money off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he's not losing in this situation.
No, he's
Let's
not.
just say
He's
that.
not. He's not. And it's sad to see that. Breaking news today: Derek Carr gets a contract extension. Some say he's not worth it. I think he is. $121.5 million extension. That is how much it can be worth. I do not have the details of the guaranteed money since it was just announced as I was walking through the door today. So I didn't get the guaranteed money yet. It has not fully been announced, but that is a good thing. So congrats to Derek Carr. I think he's getting a chance with a good receiver now at Devontae Adams, coming back from his college receiving days when he had Adams. So I think this is a way of the Raiders kind of saying, hey, we trust you. We trust you. I mean, we let Mariota go, so we obviously got to trust you.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm interested to see it. And transitioning for you, I know the Baker Mayfield situation. That's another interesting rumor today. On a podcast, he said that he felt disrespected by the Browns, and I mean, I guess
I agree with
thoughts.
That. Oh no, wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, look, here's the deal: we can't act like Baker Mayfield has the same talent as Deshaun Watson. We can't, and he doesn't. He doesn't.
I don't understand how you can feel disrespected. The Browns fans felt disrespected the way you performed.
I agree.
Odell Beckham Jr. felt disrespected when you were throwing him bad passes.
The ball.
And now look at Odell; he's a Super Bowl champion. So I mean,
you're right.
If I'm
You're
Baker
right.
Mayfield, I'm disappointed in myself. I feel like I'm disrespecting myself. So now all I see is he's saying all of this.
Right.
And hopefully he can find a new team because I don't think he has any use just sitting on the bench. I'd like to see Baker Mayfield maybe try and do something else. But if he does end up on another team, I need to see a good year. I need to see a good season from him.
What do you think, Reese?
It's interesting, no doubt, but I'll tell you. I mean, I'd like to have him on my team. I mean, we're the Commanders are sitting over here
like,
with
hey, anybody,
literally,
like, Drew, come out of retirement, somebody, like,
yeah, we're sitting over here like we'll take Carson Wentz, we'll take anybody.
Hey, you know what? I'll take Carson Wentz. I'll take not over Lamar Jackson, but I'll take Carson Wentz.
Would you take Cam Newton?
No.
No. I think that relationship with Ron Rivera and Cam Newton is severed.
And after the recent podcast, I don't think that's.
No.
We're not going to touch them based on that. Well, I mean, we could. If anybody wants to know Cam's opinions of women, you can find it on Cam Newton's podcast.
Yeah, was it his podcast?
I think so.
I saw something on Barstool. I thought, but
you can probably find it on Barstool
you can find it
too.
on Twitter.
You can find that anywhere.
It's definitely on Twitter.
Yeah, he had some very choice words to say. But like you said, we don't have to get into that. But
draft is 14 days away. Not to interrupt you. It's 14 days away. I gotta ask because we won't be able to do this during anymore during the draft time. Even though I will probably be live tweeting some of the draft stuff. Who's going number one? Are we got a defensive player overall? Do you got a specific player you think's going? What do you think? Any suggestions? Offense, defense? I mean, Jacksonville's got the number one pick. Are they trading or are they keeping it?
Personally, I think they keep it because if they did trade it, a lot of the fan base would be very angry, and you do not want to.
But it's Jacksonville.
Exactly. That's the point.
Sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. But I think with the number one overall pick, they're going to go with Akeem Ekwonu, the offensive tackle from NC State.
Yeah,
I think that they're going to have to, at some point, spend money and protect Trevor Lawrence because we've seen without an offensive line in the NFL, a quarterback's nothing.
Yeah.
I think I would know that more than anybody with the recent, things that have gone on with the Commanders. So,
I mean, you had a great XFL Heineke coming in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I will say, story-wise, I like that quarterback.
Yeah.
I think it's a good story. Yeah. I think it was great for Washington, and I think he's not a bad guy. You just get a guy with Wentz that has the same intangibles that's just a little bit better.
Right, exactly.
And so that's kind of how that works out. But but Jamar, what do you think? Who's going? Anything going number one?
I really don't have an opinion, but I like what Reese says as far as Aquanu. Is that how you pronounce his last name? I like that. I like that. As far as, especially because of protecting Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I think he needs the protection to be able to be what they think he can be as far as a good quarterback.
Right. I think that in Jacksonville fashion, we're going to see something really random. And what I mean by that is I think it's Lindbaum, the guy from Iowa, Tyler Lindbaum, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
I think it's him because he's gotten critiqued so much about being undersized and not being a good enough center, but then you watch the tape and he's great. I mean, in Iowa, he was amazing. So I think that to shore up the offensive line, they don't have a great center in Jacksonville. I mean, they need tackle, they need everything on the offensive line. Yeah. So I think personally that's who may go number one overall. But at the same time, the random wild flag, you've got people like Sauce Gardner out there. Mm-hmm. You've got Singletary, I think is his last name, from LSU. His pro day looked really like an good NFL corner on his pro day. I mean,
he ran like a 4.43.
Yeah, it was
that's
ridiculous.
Insane. Yeah,
especially for a knee injury. He had a leg injury coming back. So
he's a bigger DB. He's like 6'2". I mean, you don't expect.
And both of those guys are big bodied corners. So that's something I think. But other than that, we talked about Baker Mayfield. The rumor that is for Baker Mayfield is there are teams waiting for him, but the Browns have to either release him or pay the rest of his contract out, or pay part of his contract that's due this season, because they feel like he's getting paid too much money because he's probably going to go somewhere and be a backup. Mm-hmm. Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Seahawks are all rumored to be connected to the Browns quarterback. I don't think that's going to happen for the Saints since they just signed Jameis, but we don't know. Yeah. But I want to move in. This is our last segment here for this season.
It's the meat of the meal.
Yeah, the NBA news and playoff bracket. As we know, the Lakers have fired Vogel. He's gone. But my question for you, and especially you, Jamar, I'm gonna bring this your way first. Russ is getting extremely just ran through the ringer at this point. He's very crucial in Vogel already, but he's catching most of the blame for this. Is it fair to blame Russ solely for the Lakers missing out in the playoffs?
I don't think solely. I think what he said about Vogel, I think was a little disrespectful. I think Vogel, he literally won a championship. So it's like it definitely. I don't think it really worked out the way they wanted it to. I thought he was kind of the way the situation was handled with him. We saw his last game. He didn't even know if he was being fired yet. He said he wasn't told anything. I thought that was very disrespectful. But Russell Westbrook, we literally talked about it. I think his name was brought up every single podcast about how bad he was playing.
We've brought him up probably every show so far.
Do we? I think I kind of blame the management maybe more because we talked about Russell Westbrook or having DeMar DeRozan, maybe Buddy Hield, maybe keeping Caruso and KCP. That Lakers team is a top team. What Magic Johnson said. So I think I blame the picking up of Westbrook. I don't blame his performance. His performance is kind of the reason, but this all could have been avoided if they never got Russell Westbrook, which I don't think they should have done.
Absolutely. What do you think about this?
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. I didn't like Russell Westbrook when they got him just because he needs the ball. Like he's a player that needs the ball to be good, and you saw that in OKC. It worked out there.
Houston, he worked out in Houston. He didn't do bad in Houston.
Didn't do bad. Yeah, but definitely
wasn't
not
typical Russ. But you know what I mean, like.
Right. Yeah, it's just one of those things that it just never. When they signed him, it was just never going to work. I had no doubt in my mind it wasn't going to. Unless Russ maybe took less shots, but that didn't come to fruition. He kept bricking threes every now and then.
With the idea of a super team, when he was picked up, I thought, okay, if we keep the idea of a super team, in essence, these are AD, LeBron, and him, three probable. I don't know about AD, but LeBron for sure and Russ, probable Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, that's talent. Like, clearly you can see talent on the court, right? But at the same time, he just didn't perform. I don't blame him solely for the reason the Lakers missed the playoffs because you got a 5-man squad out there plus your second string, your second line that's out there as well.
Yeah.
So, AD's hurt for half the season, if not more. LeBron gets hurt towards the end. Russ isn't making his shots. I don't think they were coached well enough, but I think that LeBron asking Russ to come over was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think DeRozan should have came with him. I think Hield should have came in. I think Caruso should have stayed. Go ahead.
And apparently LeBron said he had nothing to do with the
Magic wouldn't lie on air like that.
Lineup or anything like that. But I thought of something. I never really actually made the connection. It used to be LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Durant and Westbrook. and Westbrook.
It's Westbrook. That's fine.
Westbrook. Put some respect to his name.
Yeah, that's fine.
But they traded. LeBron and KD basically traded teammates, and we see Kyrie and KD. They're not as successful as you'd like them to be, but I think they will be successful in this first round. We'll get into that, and then we see Westbrook and KD, they didn't really get it done. We see Westbrook and LeBron, they didn't really get it done. So what's the bad thing here? Is it Russell Westbrook? I mean, that's just my connection. We can leave it at that. Or that's
I don't want to blame the king on anything because it's the king.
He averaged 30 all year. No, you can't blame. I mean, he was out.
But that's what I'm saying. Like he's sturdy all year, and you've got a guy like Russ that should have been able to help him because you didn't have AD there. So Russ is the only other guy out of that big three that you have to depend on. So where's the disconnect? You know what I'm saying?
I think the thing that hurt them too is LeBron averaged 30, but he couldn't get the scoring title because he didn't play enough games. That's basically
messed up. He still averages 30. He's the oldest player I think in NBA history to average 30 points.
Anthony Davis has the body of a 45-year-old man. Like
Anthony Davis, I think, is a little bit older at that body.
Probably older.
Look at LeBron. What he's doing at age 38. Did he turn it? No, he's 37 right now.
37.
And then you see Anthony Davis at I think he's a little older. He's about 28, 20, whatever. But regardless,
late 20s, early 30s.
I mean, I know the post players, they normally suffer most of the injuries, especially that lower body. But man, it's tough for Anthony Davis.
We got about a couple. Well, not a couple more minutes. We got to jump into this playoffs. So looking at the NBA playoff bracket, the play-in started Tuesday, which was yesterday. The Cavs and Nets played each other. The Clippers and Timberwolves played each other. For those that don't know, the Nets beat the Cavs and the Timberwolves beat the Clippers. The Timberwolves.
We'll
get that in a second.
Yeah, they thought they won the chip.
Today we have the Hornets and Hawks and the Spurs and Pelicans playing for the last play-in. All right, or to determine what will be the last play-in games
too,
and who's officially gone.
Yesterday wasn't, but this is a winner-go-home game.
So first thing I want to say, Timberwolves shouldn't have celebrated like they just won the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, they won the play-in tournament, guys. Come on.
I think Patrick Beverley was the big spark too. I mean, he was beating his old team. They talked about how he felt dirty from the Clippers, how they didn't want to give him any money, and I mean, I know it felt really good for him beating them.
I get it, but come on,
I know
that was too much.
I know, but Anthony Edwards.
You acting way too much.
Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell went off.
They did.
30 for Edwards, 29 for Russell.
Yep,
I mean, a good performance.
5 rebounds for both of them as well.
Yep. Paul George with 34 points.
Yeah.
He also proved he's playoff B. And if they can take down the winner of Spurs and Pelicans, I think they'll probably get waxed by the Suns. But I do think that Paul George will have a good series, and I think that they'll need to kind of contain him because he's going to go off.
So let's jump into this. Right now, the games for today: Atlanta, and Carolina. So you got the Hawks and the Hornets, and you got the Spurs and Pelicans. I think the Spurs are walking out of the Pelicans game. It's so tough to call Charlotte and Atlanta, but I'm going to give it to the Hornets. The Hornets have been kind of on fire, on and off all season. I know it's Michael Jordan's team.
I'm calling you out,
so
Zach.
You can.
Literally last week you said the Hornets had no chance against their young team.
I did.
I just watched the podcast earlier today, and I was like, I'm going to call him out if he tries to say the Hornets going to beat the Hawks. Go ahead.
But let me figure it out. The reason why they're the same record. I started looking at stats last night. I know stats and playoffs don't mix, but I just don't know, man. I don't see it.
There's a thing that I like to say is playoff Trae Young. We saw what he did.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It is going to be in Atlanta, the game.
Oh, it is in Atlanta. All right, well, I don't know.
But the Hornets are playing nice. But the way that Trae Young plays in front of a big crowd is amazing.
It's going to be different. It's going to be different. So
I was about to say that arena that you showed me on I think it was Twitter maybe that thing's going to be packed. T-shirt's going to be awesome.
I'm not sure that the Timberwolves did that for the game. I didn't really notice, but literally T-shirts on every chair like a playoff game would be. This is a playing game, but regardless, it's going to be a very interesting game.
So let's dive into this. Obviously, we talked about the play-ins. Hypothetically, if XYZ teams go in, who's walking out of Eastern Conference for yourself? Let's start in the East first because we know we have a Boston fan right here with Reese. So I know your pick because we talked about this. I know what your pick is because we talked about this. You guys know what my pick is. Let's start with the East. Who's making it to the Eastern Conference Final?
Eastern Conference Finals. Looking at the bracket, it's going to be the Bucks, and it's going to be the Bucks versus Philly or the Heat. Depends on how James Harden plays. Because I'm seeing a Heat Philly semifinal, and it depends on how James Harden plays.
Okay. And what about you, Reese? What do you think?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go for the top side, Atlanta. I think the Hawks make it all the way. I really? Not all the way to the. I think they make it to the Eastern Conference Final. I really do.
Wow.
I think
as a 9 seed.
Yep. I know you guys think I'm crazy in this situation.
I mean, I'm starting to think you're a little crazy. Go ahead, continue.
But I think I just have this gut feeling, and normally, let's be honest, my gut feelings are a little off, but I really like the Hawks for some reason. I think Trae Young, if he's got to get it done this year. to really like solidify as a elite player.
As an Atlanta
team
great.
is too tough.
Well,
that Heat team is too tough. Tyler Hero coming off the bench is going to match Trae Young scoring, I think.
Yeah.
And then you have additions of Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler defensive wise.
There's always got to be an oddball in this situation.
What about,
and it's going to be me with Atlanta.
Right. So you got Atlanta and who?
In Boston.
I think
and
Brooklyn's
Boston.
the oddball.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Brooklyn's the 7th seed that's really going to pop out.
And they really shouldn't be a 7th seed.
No.
They're only a 7th seed because Kyrie couldn't play.
I don't think they make
season.
it out. I don't think they make it past Boston anyways. Because
it's KD and Kyrie.
A Brooklyn versus Milwaukee semifinal will be a beautiful series to watch. I mean, we saw that last game they played. I think it'll be a beautiful series.
Let's look at the West. Let's look at the Western Conference. Obviously, Phoenix, number 1, has a massive lead over every team that's there.
Sure.
Who's making it out of the West? I'll pick my 2 in a minute. I want to go with you guys first.
It's breaking it down really quick. This is what's going to happen. The Spurs or Pelicans doesn't matter.
Right. True.
Clippers doesn't matter.
True.
Phoenix won the first round. We got Dallas and Jazz. Luka's currently hurt right now.
Right.
So I'll give the edge to the Jazz. So we got Phoenix and Jazz right there. We got Golden State versus Denver. I have Golden State coming as long as Curry comes back, which it looks like he will be ready for his game.
Okay.
Then we got Memphis versus the Timberwolves. Memphis is going to take care of the kids. So this is what we have right here. We have Golden State's going to beat Memphis. We have Phoenix is going to beat the Jazz. And then we got Golden State Warriors versus Phoenix, Warriors in 4.
In the Western Conference, Warriors in 4.
I'm just kidding. That's going to be a very tight series.
You almost topped me from what I just said.
I might have almost had a heart attack.
Warriors in a good 6 or 7 games. I might go to 7, but
who do you got for West? We got about 3-ish minutes here. 2-ish minutes here.
I'm not going to break it down like Jamar because he obviously knows a lot more about the NBA.
Right.
But I like either Golden State or Phoenix. I really either one of those 2 teams because Curry's been there, Klay Thompson's been there, Draymond's been all these players that I'm saying. Devin Booker's been what I'm saying all these players have been in that spot before, and they're really looking to make a push to the championship. So either one of those teams really for me.
One thing I hope that doesn't ruin these playoffs is injuries.
I agree with you. I think
no injuries.
And what's good is a lot of these teams coming in except for like Golden State and a couple like small other than Curry, but small name players like Luka's having issues too. He's not a small name player, but not as many teams walking in injured as we thought they would be going into the playoffs, which is a good thing. For the East, by the way, I forgot to mention mine. I think you know what? I'll give you Boston and Milwaukee, but they got to play each other. So I mean that's not going to happen. So Milwaukee and Brooklyn would be a great one to watch. I really would love to see that from the East. I'm not really invested in the East as much, but I will say in the West, I've got Memphis and Phoenix, man. I mean, I do. I know. I got Memphis. I know. He's giving me the eye roll. And it's because I'm a Memphis fan, so I gotta take the team.
Respect, man.
But I will correct myself. Last time we were on air, I said Memphis would lose the first time they played in the playoffs, right? No matter who they played. They played Minnesota, and I just said that they would win. So
put your money where your mouth is.
No, I got you.
But I want to talk really quick. Robert Williams is not playing for Boston against the Nets. That's going to hurt y'all, and I think he might be second round.
That's the straw that breaks it.
Yeah, man. They got Andre Drummond's going to dominate whoever who's starting right now for Boston.
Jeez, to tell you the honest truth, I have no.
I think it's Grant Williams. Is it a small ball lineup?
It might be.
I
think it might be Grant Williams. Yeah, and he's slow. His feet are slow. So he's not going to be able to guard.
He's going to eat, man. It's just
the pick and roll.
Yeah, it's going to be so good.
Y'all are talking now, but just wait.
Well, so I want to take this time. I want to thank everybody who's made this show possible this season. This is our season finale for this right now because we unfortunately have to go on break eventually because school gets out and everything like that. So I want to take time to thank Dr. Von Palco for letting us use the studio, Steve Sawyer for helping us run this equipment, David Ellison for making this possible and letting me be able to actually continue the show from Matthews. Thank you for that. Joanne, Jay, Wicks, thank you guys so much for helping us run this show week in and week out and keeping everything going as well. You can find us on APSU Crunchtime on Twitter or on Instagram at APSU Crunchtime. We will be doing photos, we'll be doing live tweets and stuff like that throughout our break as well to talk about what's going on inside the world of sports. Gentlemen, thank you guys so much for taking your time out as well to let me be able to host this with you guys as well. It's been an opportunity and a privilege. It's been a great season. And I cannot wait for our next season, which starts in hopefully late August, early September. So we'll catch the NFL. But you've been listening to Crunch Time, and we'll see you next season. Thank you so much.